Hey, what is up, Frag fam? Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. So today we're going to be talking about my top 5 absolutely favorite rose-based fragrances for 2021. So I've said this many times, I'm not a huge rose lover. It's kind of hit or miss for me. These are all ones that I absolutely love. So even if you're a person that maybe you're kind of like teeter-tottering on whether you like rose or not, these are ones that I'm pretty confident you will enjoy anyway, because me kind of being in the same boat, I really like these a lot as well. So if you want to hear all about these fragrances, then please stick around. But first, let's roll that intro. Alright guys, welcome back from the intro, and like I already said, this is going to be my top 5 absolutely favorite rose-based fragrances here in 2021. Some of these are targeted towards men and definitely lean more masculine. Others I would say lean a little bit more feminine, but in general these are, I would say, unisex. You know, anybody can really pull these off, and these are absolutely fantastic smelling rose fragrances. So let's hop into the list here with the number 5 spot. Okay, so starting the video off here at the number 5 spot, although there's no rank to this list by any means, if you are somebody that likes gourmands or just very sweet fragrances that almost smell edible, but you want something that has a little bit of a floral and rosy touch, this would be a great one for you. So we were talking about a fragrance from the house of BDK Parfums, and this is Tabak Rose, which the name says it all. Tobacco and rose. You get a pretty big dose of both of those in this fragrance, although there's more to this one than that. There's also chocolate in here. You get plum and then some lemon as well. So it is actually a very slight amount of fresh in the opening, just a small amount, and that goes away pretty quickly. And the Turkish rose that they're using here actually is a little bit fresh as well. It's more of a fresher rose note, not super jammy or heavy, but you know, the other notes more than make up for kind of this heavy side of the fragrance. Like I said, you get that chocolate and the plum. The plum is a very sweet and juicy, not really like fresh kind of fruity note. The chocolate here just very deep and rich. It's more of like a milk chocolate kind of style of chocolate note, and then you get that tobacco in here as well, which is a little bit sweet, maybe a little bit smoky, but it's not super heavy or harsh or anything like that. What this one almost smells like to me is like, imagine like a fruity chocolate cake with kind of this smokiness and then that rose note kind of mixed in. You know, it's really seductive and sweet and just intense, but super sensual at the same time. So a really awesome fragrance. Again, if you like stuff that is very sweet, almost gourmand-like, but you want something with this kind of fresher rose mixed in there as well, this is one you absolutely have to check out from the house of BDK Parfums. Okay, so the next fragrance we're going to be talking about is one of the ones that I mentioned previously where it is targeted towards men. This is technically a male fragrance, although I think a woman could totally pull this off if they want to. But this is that style of rose that isn't heavy and jammy. It's more of a dry, dark, and slightly fresh rose at the same time, if that makes sense. So we are talking about one from the house of Creed, and this is the original Viking, which this is one of my favorite fragrances from Creed. Probably my second favorite here at this point. This stuff smells absolutely fantastic. It's very approachable and I would say somewhat mass appealing, but it does have this sophistication to it at the same time, which to me just makes it very versatile in general. This is one that you can wear year round. So again, this is not a jammy style of rose, which I would think those would be more tailored for the cooler weather. This is something you can wear easily in the summertime, but you can wear it just as easily in the wintertime. And then of course, every time in between, you know, those transition seasons. And what this one focuses around is pink pepper, mint, lavender, and then rose. So you do get that rose again in here. It is pretty dry and more of a darker rose, but it is a little bit fresh at the same time. You get that pink pepper in here. It is a creamy, fresh spice. You get that mint as well, which is very brisk, you know, kind of has this cooling feeling to it in a way. And then the lavender in here brings a nice, sophisticated aromatic touch to this. There are some citruses in the opening as well, which do make it nice and fresh in the opening while not being like a citrus bomb. You really do aid it. Like I said, this is a sophisticated grown-up rose fragrance that does work for men, but I think a woman could pull this off as well. So if you're after something like that, almost like a fougere in a way, this is going kind of in a barbershop direction, but still not quite all the way over there with those kind of like floral, rosier nuances. This is really one that you have to check out from the house of Creed, a total masterpiece. Okay, so moving on to the next fragrance, we are totally changing sides of like rose, whereas with the last one, honestly, the last two, they were more of your fresher styles of rose. This is in the opposite direction, where this is a very heavy, syrupy, sweet, jammy rose. Still, this is one that I absolutely love, even though traditionally this is the style of rose that I'm not a fan of. There is something with this fragrance where it just pulls me in, it captivates me. This stuff smells absolutely fantastic. I talked about this in a previous video for my top 5 favorite pickups of 2021 so far. This was in that video. So this is one of my favorite pickups that I've gotten within this year. Now we are talking about a fragrance from the house of Zaharoff, and this is Signature Rosé, which this stuff, man, like I said, this stuff just captivates me. There is something with this that just like it intrigues you. It makes you want to smell it more and more. It pulls you in. And when you look at the note breakdown, this thing is absolutely insane. This has 3 different styles of rose in it. You get Turkish rose, and then you actually get 2 types of Bulgarian rose, one in the top and then one in the mid. And Bulgarian rose is traditionally more of that kind of jammier style of rose. So not really that fresh side, but like I said, more on that jammy side. That's what you definitely get here with this one. And you actually get a bourbon vanilla note in here as well, this sweet, creamy vanilla. There's myrrh in here, you get olibanum, there is sandalwood, you get some amber as well. So this thing is pretty sweet. It is balanced out with that olibanum, that frankincense, and then that myrrh and the sandalwood as well that kind of mellow these things out. And basically, like I said, what this one's like, it's like jammy rose that is syrupy sweet, it is silky, it has a little bit of this kind of smokiness, it's got a little bit of that resinous quality from the myrrh and the amber, and a little bit of this woodiness from the sandalwood. This one does have a small resemblance to the original Signature Pour Homme. They share some of the same notes like the myrrh and then the frankincense. You get both of those in the original. So there is a small touch of it, although this is really mostly a standalone fragrance. If you want something that is just seductive, silky, smooth, creamy, sweet, and with a heavy dose of this rose note, you really need to check this one out. Again, from Zaharoff, Signature Rosé. Okay, so up next here at the number 2 spot, we have a really interesting rose fragrance. This one smells like nothing else out there except for some other fragrances that have actually kind of gone after this one in like an inspired by way. This is the original though, a very unique fragrance for men that is based around rose. So this one is coming from the house of YSL, and this is Tuxedo. So like I said, you know, this one was made for men, although I think this thing is perfectly unisex. There's nothing masculine with this, but there's nothing really feminine either. Like again, this thing is kind of androgynous smelling. It has violet leaf in here, you get bergamot, you get that rose, you get ambergris, and then vanilla as well. So this is a very unique kind of rose fragrance where it is a little bit fresh on like one side, but at the same time it is like kind of jammy and sweet. The freshness in this is coming from that violet leaf, the bergamot, and then the ambergris as well. The ambergris is very salty here in this fragrance. The violet leaf, it's not really petrol smelling like, it's more just like cold and almost metallic. And then the bergamot, of course, it is a citrus note, so it just brings a tartness and a freshness, but the rose here is quite jammy. And then the vanilla, of course, it's creamy. It adds kind of this richness to it, and of course, very sweet. So you do kind of get these 2 contrasts of fragrance, which is why, in my opinion, it does balance out pretty well. This is actually a very beast mode fragrance as well. Every time I wear this stuff, I get well over 10 hours of longevity. It's just loud, it lasts a long time. So I can't knock it for the scent or the performance, just a very well-rounded fragrance in general. If you're after something like that, definitely check out Tuxedo from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. Okay, so we are finally at the number 1 spot now, and like I said, there is no rank to this list. I just kind of put them in a random order. However, this is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection, easily in my top 10, regardless of niche or designer or indie, whatever it is. I just absolutely love this stuff. This one is coming from the house of Christian Dior, and this is Dior Homme Parfum, which you guys probably were expecting this one to be here on this list. I just cannot get enough of this stuff. It's one of the fragrances that I have a backup bottle of the 75 milliliter style as well. I have not tried the new stuff in the 100 mil that is just coming from Europe. I don't think it's offered here in America, but I know some people are able to get their hands on it. I do not know if they are the same formulation or not. I can just speak to this one, the original. Absolutely an amazing fragrance. This one features iris, just like all of the Dior Homme flankers for the most part. You also get some oud in here. There's leather, and then of course that rose as well. The oud and then the leather are very tame. They're not animalic or heavy. They are maybe a little bit rustic, but there's nothing like dirty with this fragrance at all. And then the rose here, it's not a jammy rose. Again, it's kind of more like the rose you see in Creed's Viking, where it is a little bit fresh, but it's just very dry and dark as well. It's more of a masculine style of rose, which this is a masculine targeted fragrance. Again, I think that like a woman could wear this too if they want. Decently unisex to my nose. There's a little bit of Italian orange in this fragrance as well, which brings a very small touch of sweetness. It kind of offsets the oud, the leather, and then that dry, dark, masculine rose. Like I was saying, you know, they're all just dark, heavy, dry notes. So that little touch of sweetness from that orange really aids this thing, just makes it a standout fragrance with that amazing waxy iris that all of these fragrances have. Just a stunner fragrance in general. Definitely check this one out. Get a sample, whatever you can. You need to try this stuff at some point. Well, there you guys go. That was my top 5 absolutely favorite rose fragrances here in 2021. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below, what are some rose fragrances that you guys absolutely love? Do you guys agree with me here on this list? Do you guys not? Have you not tried some of these fragrances? I would definitely like to hear all about that down below. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you did, I would really appreciate dropping a like just to show your support. And then that way more people can see my videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you want to write a comment, maybe just let me know your thoughts, as well as some new video ideas or topics, that would be great too. And since you're down there doing all that stuff, if you've not already, if you could hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification, that would be amazing. That way you stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. But with all that out of the way, that's all I really have for you guys today. So I hope you have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.